Hey, what's up, guys? This is MugenLord here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy 16. If you guys don't know, the game had released last Thursday. I picked up a copy of the game. I also live streamed it, so if you guys haven't checked that out, I have the archives on my YouTube channel. So if you want to hear my overall thoughts about the game so far, I enjoyed the conversations that we had while I was playing the game. But as far as the title is concerned, there's been a lot of controversy over the internet, and it's been a while since a game had caused so much controversy when it comes to communities and when it comes to the gaming industry in general. Because there's a Twitter war going on about the overall design approach to Final Fantasy 16, since it does take a drastic different approach in terms of its overall gameplay. So in this video, I want to talk about what we have got a chance to get a glimpse of the game's sales and what it's tracking so far, especially in one particular region that we have is the UK. It seems as though that the retail sales is 74% lower than Final Fantasy 15. So what could this actually mean? Because there's a lot to this. So before we dive into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. So we're going to dive into it. Now, I'm going to give you my overall impressions this week of Final Fantasy 16, since I'm currently playing the game. You already had got my initial, I guess you say, early pre-impressions of the game as I've been playing it on the live stream. And also, don't mind, you may hear the rain or the thunderstorm in the background. It's going crazy over here as far as the weather is concerned in Philadelphia, so don't mind that. But I digress. I'm going to give you my overall impressions of the game this week, so stay tuned for that. So you're interested, make sure, like I said, don't miss out on that, okay? So as far as the game is concerned, it has a lot of people in two different camps. You have the one camp that said, hey, this is not a Final Fantasy game. Then you have the other camp saying that, hey, what is a Final Fantasy game? What is the requirements of a Final Fantasy game? Because as far as they're concerned, that this is a Final Fantasy game, and they believe that 16 should definitely push the series forward in this direction. And you already know what camp I'm on. Totally disagree with that. But anyway, let's talk about the sales, because right now you have the internet talking about Final Fantasy 16 sales in the UK, and this is only one region. It appears that, as we can see here, Final Fantasy 16 UK sales launched at 74% lower than Final Fantasy 15. Now, I said that context matter. There's a lot involved with this. Despite me not being a fan of the direction that they went with Final Fantasy 16, I'm not the one that's going to celebrate or jump the gun when you look at the initial news because of the headline, because there's a lot of people going back and forth on Twitter, as you can see. There's quite a few people that's talking about it in the comment section. Like, wasn't this supposed to be like the best game ever according to Sony fans? So there's a lot of console war arguments, debates, and memes going on and everything. And you know me, I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys when it comes to this. Even though that I'm not a big fan of the direction of Final Fantasy 16, I'm not the one that's going to celebrate about this at all, because we don't have the full context of this. So we're going to just dive into the article, and I'll give you my overall opinion, because the article does say launch sales, of the physical. It's only talking about physical. We don't know what the digital is, and we're going to get into that. So in the article, it does state that sales figures have revealed that Final Fantasy 16 is the UK's best-selling retail release this week, although its launch sales are reportedly 74% lower than Final Fantasy 15. After 2 years of its reveals, this week marked the long-awaited launch of Final Fantasy 16. While critical receptions for the game has largely been positive so far, it seems that it may not have made as much of a splash as Square Enix would have hoped when it comes to the game's sales, at least when it comes to physical retail releases in the UK. And this is where we have to understand when it comes to this. And also, Yoshi P, I did a video about this, like last week, talking about this, with Yoshi P's game plans in order to push and promote this game. He was saying that never look at the first week sales to begin with anyway. It's normally initially, just like Hollywood films, normally you never celebrate about the sales as far as a movie is concerned if it's, good or bad as far as the sales are concerned until the second weekend, because then word of mouth, and many people have seen the movie. Will they go back and revisit the movie? Once again, same thing with the gaming industry, and like Yoshi P said, normally the first week, don't really get a true picture of what the sales is going to be like until after gamers has fully gotten their hands on it. Live streamers, which he's really pushing. He's hoping that live streamers actually push this game, which you're starting to see a lot of streamers talk about, give this game like high praise and everything. And he's hoping that will determine and push the sales of this game, especially after the first week of sales. So he said pretty much ignore that. And that's what they're pretty much saying here when it comes to the physical sales. We don't really know everything. And like I said, I'm not really a big fan of the direction of Final Fantasy 16 at all, but I'm not going to celebrate this fact without any of the actual details or anything like that. So it says, as reported by GameIndustry.biz head Christopher Dring, UK sale figures show that while Final Fantasy 16's number one retail release this week, its sale figures are around 74% lower than the last mainline entry in the series, Final Fantasy 15. Dring shared that the data on Twitter while commenting that the launch wasn't a particularly strong one for the series. So Christopher Dring says, Final Fantasy 16 is number one this week in the UK, but as a box launches go, it wasn't particularly a strong one. Physical sales are lower, or 74% lower than the launch week of Final Fantasy 15 in 2016. Obviously, digital sales is much bigger component of sales today. That data comes later, and that's what you guys have to take under consideration. I hate to admit it when it comes to me being a physical owner of games. I love, I'm old school. I love physical copies of games and everything, but we are moving into this digital age where everything is more digital, and I can pretty much guarantee you that Final Fantasy 16 is going to be doing just fine off the digital sales alone, and especially in the UK. UK are big Sony fans, and I pretty much can guarantee that most UK gamers are probably getting the game digital anyway. So that's why I'm saying there's no need to, the people who are on my camp, there's no need to celebrate about this, because this doesn't mean anything at all. So although this may send some Final Fantasy fans into a panic, there are several factors to play here. For starters, Final Fantasy 16 was always going to have a smaller install base than Final Fantasy 15, since it's exclusive to PS5, which is another thing I was about to say as well. Whereas 15 was available on all ranges of consoles. It's also worth considering that Final Fantasy 15 released closer to the end of a cheaper console generation, which means that more people had access to the system, needed to play the game. Also that factor. Also, noted by Dring, this doesn't take into account the digital sales, which are obviously much bigger part of the equation now than they were with Final Fantasy 15 when that was released. This is also just indicative of sales figures in the UK, so there could also be different story for other parts of the world. While it's disappointing to see sales figures being so much lower than Final Fantasy 15, it doesn't necessarily mean that 16 is doing badly, and it's hopefully more indicative of the shift towards digital sales. So yeah, man, it's no surprise. And we also want to talk about too is about the pre-orders. Pre-orders was also below Final Fantasy 15 when we talked about that in the video. So there's a lot of things that you have to take under consideration when it comes to Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 15. And I just want to let you guys know that you can't really celebrate about this, just yet for those of you guys in my camp. And I don't want Final Fantasy 16 to do terrible. I think, Yoshi P and his team had put a lot of heart. They put a lot of passion into it. And these guys, like the designing and developing this game. And in my personal opinion, I think it deserves to have some recognition. I think it deserves to sell well, especially if the design method and development method behind this. They're not expecting to work on any DLC anytime soon. I don't think they're going to do DLC at all, in my personal opinion. And they made sure to have this game fully completed, and they completed the game much earlier than expected. So it shows that this company or this team in the studio had a lot of passion in designing this game, and I think it should be rewarded if though, for those who want to go out and support the game, I want the game to do well. And as I said before, for me, in my personal opinion, if the game does well, this also, because money talks, companies responds to money. This will also determine the fate of the Final Fantasy series moving forward. And since I don't really like where they're going with Final Fantasy 16, and I'll do a video on that sometime this week or whatever. Sad to say, if the game does do well, which I wanted to do well, this will determine how Final Fantasy 16 as a series is going to move. And I'm not liking it at all. But it deserves the recognition, and it deserves the praise, or it deserves with the accolades that have gotten because of what Yoshi P and the passion that his team put into it. And sadly, I'm just in the camp that just don't like the direction of where they're going with this when it comes to Final Fantasy 16 and beyond and stuff like that. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment sections below when it comes to Final Fantasy 16. What do you think about the game? What do you think about sales? Do you think we were moving into more of a digital era that we would have to just wait and see? And this is just one region, the UK. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about the game? I definitely want to hear your impressions of it so far. I have my impressions coming this week, so you'll be able to hear that. I'll also be live streaming it once again this week, so you can be able to stop through. Check out my community tab. That's where I'll post the next time I'll be doing my live stream. So this wraps up this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell for more gaming content here in the near future. This is MugenLord, signing off. See you Game Fiends later. Peace out.